Yeah, I mean, going along with the defense, we do a lot of people, and I think I speak for all of us here on this show, would not mind if Joe Woods was gone at this point. There are a lot of people that are fed up with what they're seeing. I mean, to have this happen 2 weeks in a row, I know Jack specifically, even last year, there were times where
2 years ago.
I've been talking about it.
about Joe Woods. What are your thoughts on the job he has done, and do you see a situation where he could be let go in any, like, let's say the Browns, and we're really hoping this doesn't happen, just look absolutely terrible Thursday and this really goes south for the defense. Is Joe Woods on the hot seat, or is that more just fans wanting him gone and not necessarily like Kevin Stefanski and the front office believing they need to make a change there?
I think it's fans right now, but let's talk in a couple of weeks after they face Trubisky and Mariota and see what they do. Stefanski's not a reactionary guy. I mean, if he's shown anything over 2+ years as the head coach here, he's not going to do knee-jerk things. He's going to be, I don't want to say by the book, but he's going to take his time. He's going to process everything. I think, but again, if they get the Trubisky and then Mariota light him up, maybe. I think the seat gets warm this season for Joe. I don't foresee a change necessarily in season, but again, that's assuming it doesn't all just derail. And one thing about, listening back a year ago at this time, coming out of that Chargers game, and granted that was Justin Herbert and the Chargers skill guys and not Joe Flacco at 105 and the Jets, but we were having a lot of these same conversations about communication in the secondary and coverage breakdowns and how are receivers running so free and all of that. And, it sort of came to a head in that Patriots game. And they got it together. They figured it out. They got it together. They played really well down the stretch as a defense. Then, they went out to Cincinnati, with Joe Burrow and that receiving core and really basically locked them down, save after that first drive once Denzel had that pick six. So I wonder, and this is just a theory, the players insist it's not the case. I think it is. We go back to training camp. How many times did Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome, how many times were they on the field together? I'm not saying in preseason, just in training camp, how much were they on the field together? Next to none. I mean, at least in the training camp portion of it, they were next to none. They weren't together on the field for the Eagles joint practices, which when you would have, Denzel was there, but Greg was out. Greg didn't really come back into full till that week, that gap week between the Bears preseason game and the Panthers. So I think part of this is just, again, and this is just a theory of mine, I think it's a little bit of getting back on the same page after you really didn't work. They can talk about the works they've done in practices so far, but you're still going out in game speed against game receivers, and I think it's a lot different. And I think they're just trying to catch up. They're trying to make up for lost time that they're not going to get back. And so I'm willing to give them a benefit of the doubt because they're going to have to get it straight the next 2 weeks. Because then you go through that gauntlet where you're just seeing quarterbacks that are the quarterbacks that will legitimately embarrass you if you don't figure this out. Because, I don't care if Justin Herbert's walking around with 5 ribs broken or, I hate to be Debbie Downer on this, but I think there's talent in that. But the thing is, I think it's a talented secondary. I really do. That's why I'm willing to give them a chance to figure this out the next couple of weeks. And then, we'll see starting week 5, because I think week 5 is when we really find out about this football team, because that's when, you hit that maybe the toughest stretch in the league where you just go boom, boom, playoff contender right down the line until really the game you get Deshaun back.